Before we get into today's video, I did want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comments section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. Good morning, my lovelies, my beauties, my friends. My name is Christina and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you will subscribe, stick around, take a chance in hearing some things that I have to say. And if you are a returning subscriber, y'all already know, y'all are my babies. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all had a wonderful week. I hope everybody is doing good, had a productive week. So have you guys been watching the sentencing trial for Aiden Fucci? I've actually been out of town. I just got in last night at midnight, got up, took a shower, and was ready to film this for you guys. And so in this video, I'm going to give you guys the highlights from the sentencing phase or the sentencing trial for Aiden Fucci. And then we're going to discuss the sentence that he got, whether I think it was appropriate or not. And I'm going to give you guys all my opinions. Now, if you guys have been with me following this since 2021, I mean, we were watching this case when Tristyn went missing, right? We were talking about it. It was going viral online. I mean, it all happened boom, boom, boom. And then later that day, she was found in that wooded area. Then when we found out an arrest had been made and who it was, we were all shocked. Like, what happened? How did it happen? Why? And then when we found out the details, it became even more eye-opening. Now, this whole time, we have known that Aiden had been facing 40 years minimum since he decided to go ahead and enter a guilty plea, 40 years up to life. And I'll be honest with y'all. At first, I was thinking, how are they going to give this person of this age a life sentence? I mean, it's got to be difficult. But you know what? After I heard the victim impact statements and I heard the expert witnesses testify, I'm like, nothing less of what he got would have been appropriate. And I was on pins and needles this morning, watching it, brushing my teeth, hoping that the judge did what, in my opinion and Tristyn's family's opinion, was the right thing. So let's just go over some details that I learned while I was watching this. So while Aiden was in the county jail, he actually checked himself into PC, into protective custody. It was also said that he was actually in there bullying people for commissary. And then there was some times that there were people bullying him. And when I heard about that, I thought, man, when he gets to that YO program in the Florida State Prison, and we've talked about that before, and I'm going to tell you guys some more things in this video, he better be ready. I mean, it is wild. Something I found very interesting was there is a doctor named Dr. Pritchard. Now, Dr. Pritchard testified that the behavior and the psychology basically of Aiden is unusual. It's different. It's not like a typical kid that gets in trouble and does something they're not supposed to. This situation with Aiden was basically in a different category. And I'm putting this all in my own words. You guys go do your own research, form your own opinions. I'm not a professional, so yeah. This psychiatrist testified saying that he had serious concerns that there was something seriously wrong with Aiden. I mean, like, you think, right? But you guys know, I mean, teenagers get in trouble. That's why there's a juvenile hall. I mean, things happen. But this case and this evaluation that he did on Aiden was different. Dr. Pritchard brought up an example that was super powerful. He talked about the impulsivity of children, right? Or people in general, but specifically he's talking about adolescents. And he said that you have an example of maybe an adolescent that decides they're going to go into a store and rob a store, and they have a firearm in their pocket. They have no intention on actually using this, but they have it just to maybe scare the store clerk so they can get the money. Well, they go into the store clerk reaches under the desk, the adolescent gets spooked, fires a firearm, runs out of the store, okay? That's one situation. That is in that quick moment, never had the intention, wasn't thinking about the long-term effects of even carrying that weapon into the store, made a split-second decision, somebody was hurt, okay, boom, boom, boom. This situation with Aiden was extremely different, and for multiple reasons. One, because he went around telling all of his friends that he was going to do something like this to somebody and that it was going to be soon. He also allegedly told one of his friends that he wanted to see the blood drain out of somebody's body. Like, unbelievable. But then when you think about 114 wounds to Tristyn, it puts it in a different perspective. And that's what brings me to Tristyn Bailey's sister who testified. And when she went to the stand to testify, she brought a glass like jar or vase or cup, and she brought 114 teal rocks in order to kind of demonstrate how many times Aiden had to attack Tristyn. And it was so powerful, and it put things really into perspective for me. I want to play that clip for you guys right now. That way, as we're finishing this video, you can remember that. Watch this.
114. This jar now holds 114 stones, one for each of the 114 stab wounds that my sister had to endure. It was 1 hour and 42 minutes between when my sister was last seen and when Aiden Fucci was next seen, running out of the woods holding his shoes because his feet hurt. It's funny that such a simple statement can bring such anger. Aiden Fucci could show compassion for his sore feet, yet had nothing to leave for my beautiful sister.
When I watched that and watched her go through 1, 2, 3, I mean, she wasn't dragging it out. It was 1, 2, 3. And even if you count like this 114 times, could you just imagine the fit of like the mental state of it's scary and it's unreal. Now, Tristyn's family members got up there and testified. All of her siblings testified except for one, and it was said that she just couldn't. It was too hard for her. And it was super sad, you guys, because, I mean, they all talked about their memories with her. Her oldest sister was 16 when she was born, and Tristyn was actually born in Singapore because they were traveling at the time. And her older sister, being 16, was like a second mother to her. So she watched her be born. She changed her diapers. She helped her learn how to walk. And this was, again, like a child to her as well. And the family has just been so broken. They used to have Sunday Bailey Family Fun Day, where they would all get together and do something fun, play games and eat, and the kids that had moved out of the house would come back home. But now they spend 2 hours every Sunday doing family therapy, which I do think is a good idea. The father did say that they racked up like over $30-something thousand worth of therapist bills, which I can guess. I'm just glad that they are trying to take care of their mental health, but they all seem extremely devastated. They all have PTSD. They all, in some way, somehow, seem to blame themselves. The mother, the father, the brother. Her brother was laying on the couch watching TV with her. He said he fell asleep, so he got up from the couch and he went and slept somewhere else. And he just keeps playing over in his mind that, what if he would have slept on the couch?
Tristyn and I started to watch TV. I began to fall asleep on the couch until I finally excused myself to go to bed. Every single day, I can't help but wonder what would have happened had I slept on that couch instead, or if I had stayed up later. Tristyn was a 13-year-old. She had a personality brighter than fireworks, and she was being a teenager. But had I slept on that couch that was within earshot of our front door, there's a possibility my little sister could still be alive today. I have lived with that question, that weight, and that guilt since I went to wake up Tristyn on Mother's Day and found her room empty.
Would he have heard the front door open and heard her leave? You know, what if he would have stayed awake? Like, he has all these what ifs, and it's just pretty, it's absolutely devastating to see the ripple effect that this has had on Tristyn's family and even the community. I mean, her best friend, who was also from Singapore, who cheered with her, testified talking about how she talked to Tristyn every day and now she's not there anymore. Now, for Aiden's side, his grandmother got up there and testified, and she cried the whole time. And listen, you guys, Tristyn's mother testified, and that was emotional. I mean, I cried my eyes out watching her testify. You can only imagine. And she talked about everything from getting up on Mother's Day morning, all of her kids coming to the house that day. You guys remember it was May 9th, 2021. They were there to cook her breakfast. Her brother went to the room to wake up Tristyn, and Tristyn is not in the room. And this is when everything went into a panic. Again, Mother's Day. Tristyn's mom wakes up in a great mood, getting ready to spend the day with her kids. I mean, what else would you want to do on Mother's Day? And they spent the day doing exactly what they did. Now, all these emotional testimonies from the siblings, family members, Tristyn's grandma, Tristyn's father, Aiden was like unemotional, just sitting there looking down, playing with stuff, even like joking and laughing with his attorney at some points, which was, it's so cold, right? Like, I mean, I know, like, my child, if he sees a puppy hurt, like, he is going to be crying, right? But when Aiden's grandmother got up there to testify, she cried, and that's when you saw some emotion out of Aiden.
He's not the boy that I knew. I don't know what happened. I mean, he's always been good and happy. I'm so sorry. He has a good family, and we don't condone what happened.
Which, again, is just very interesting. I mean, I'm glad he has some sort of emotion, but who really knows why? I don't know. They talked about Aiden's childhood, and he seemed to have a pretty good childhood from what they say. I mean, who really knows what went on behind the scenes, but nothing super bad to the point that, like, CPS is involved and the cops are being called for him to protect him type of thing. Maybe his dad said some mean things to him before, or he got a couple butt whoopings, but nothing like crazy out of the ordinary. And so the family is saying they don't understand what happened with him. But my thought is his mama, and this is my personal opinion, y'all, Aiden's mama had to know he had issues. Had to. For her to go and wash the blood out of his jeans. And she has her trial next month, I believe is when it starts. And I hope it's televised because I really want to see what she says and how she defends herself or any of that. And his mother did not come to his sentencing because her attorney suggested that she not. But I was talking about this morning with one of my friends, and it's like, if somebody comes to your house and asks you if you've seen a missing child that's in a neighborhood, most people, I would assume, I mean, y'all tell me down below, don't immediately start looking for their clothes and thinking maybe my child had something to do with this other kid missing, and then goes and finds some clothes that maybe has some sort of substance on it and starts washing it in the sink. Like, that would not even be my train of thought. So for her to go and do that, for her to even look for the clothes, find the clothes, see the clothes and put two and two together, much less even take that extra step and then tamper with evidence, she had to know something was going on with him. And for that, there's got to be some sort of responsibility. For sure, you knew something was wrong with him in that aspect. That is wild. I mean, talk about red flags. I mean, how much more of a red flag do you need to the point that there's blood in your, and I've talked to you guys about this before. I'm trying to put myself in her position, and I'm thinking like, even if I wanted to get my kid out of trouble, then what? Then he's going to live with me. What happens when I tell him to take out the trash and he don't want to? Am I going to have to sleep with my door locked? Am I going to have to worry about when he's 16, he says, Mom, I want to use the car. And I say, no, I got to go to work. And he punches me in the face and says, I'm going to take your car. Like, what was she thinking? I don't understand. They also played the like waiting room footage where Aiden was in the room with his biological mom, his biological father, waiting to be like interviewed by the cops. And in it, his father said, I'm going to have to take you to my house after we're done here.
Everything you say will affect you.
That Snapchat that you did was not very smart.
Not good at all. Now we have people wanting to burn our house down and our cars down. Because of that Snapchat thing you did. It's all over. You're all over the internet and everywhere. Social media.
It is on social media. You'll probably come stay with me after we get done with this. Just for your well, safe being.
It's like I heard him say that thinking like he really thought his son was leaving. Now you could tell, in my opinion, the way his mom was acting, she knew her son did something. And you want to take him home? I don't get it, y'all. Maybe y'all can help me. Maybe y'all can help me understand. We're not talking about a child that stole a Snickers bar from the Walmart, okay? We're not talking about somebody that maybe, flattened somebody's tire because they were running with a crew and that's what they wanted to do, or they went into a car, opened up a car door and stole the money out of the console. We're talking about you thinking that your child took another person's life and you want to take him home with you and wash his pants and then what? Make him spaghetti? I don't get it. Now, you guys, Tristyn's mom, this got me in the gut, in the heart. Ugh. When Tristyn's mom was testifying and talking about her daughter, she talked about how Tristyn was like friends of everybody. She was captain of her cheer team. She seemed, the way that I can tell from everybody's testimony, extremely like an independent young girl, like the front of the stage type of person. She commanded a room. I mean, seemed like she was probably very mature. I mean, she had all older siblings as well. So she just had that type of personality. Tristyn's mom said that she taught Tristyn to love everybody and be kind to everybody. She even told a story about a little boy that was in Tristyn's class.
I will never forget conversations about one boy in particular who was always getting in trouble in her class for years. I always ended the conversation with, just be kind to him. He probably needs friends. He probably doesn't have many. Little did I know that she did that over the years. At Tristyn's celebration of life, a boy waited in a long line of people to speak with me. To be honest with you, he's the only thing I really remember from that day. Everything else are just brief flashes of memories. He waited for so long to speak with me, and the tears poured out of his face. His words still resonate with me to today. He said, "She was my best friend. She was my only friend." I spent more than a month trying to figure out who this boy was. It turned out to be the same boy that we had talked about so often. At that moment, I knew just how extra special my daughter was and how she truly learned a valuable lesson of just be kind. I will treasure these moments and lessons taught for the rest of my life. I, however, failed in one lesson. I did not know that I needed to teach Tristyn to be afraid of the evil in her own school, to be cautious and fearful of the people you think are your friends.
She said, I always taught Tristyn how to be kind to everybody, but what I failed at as a mother was I never taught Tristyn to be afraid of her friends. You guys, oh my gosh, that got me. Like, you teach your kids to be afraid of the boogeyman. You teach your kids to be afraid of the white van or strangers, but they're friends. Now, we've talked about this before over here, so if you guys watch all my videos, this probably isn't a new concept, but most people don't think like that. Okay, unless you've had some sort of trauma in your life, or you've been to prison, or you've seen monsters, but if you've lived somewhat of a peaceful life, you don't think to have your children watch their backs against their friends, especially when they're 13 and 14. And it's sad. Now, I do want to mention, because I don't want to make everybody out here like paranoid and panic. This is a unusual case. This isn't something that happens every day, but it is a good conversation to have. Another thing that really moved me that Tristyn's mother said was that Tristyn's room, now it's been almost 2 years now, May will be 2 years, is the exact same way that it was when she left, meaning her bed is still unmade. So when Tristyn went to bed that night before she snuck out, the way her blanket was still that way. The towel that Tristyn used to take a shower or a bath with, she left it at the foot of her bed. Her mom has not even touched that towel. She had an unpacked suitcase because they had just returned from a cheer camp, and her suitcase is still in there unpacked. And you guys, I just can't imagine. I cannot imagine that feeling of like, if I change this, does that mean I'm erasing her from my life? But also the pain of it all still being there exactly the way it was, and the temptation to open that door and go in there and just sob on the floor. Oh my goodness, you guys, it's so much for this family. So some final thoughts that I wanted to talk about before we wrap this up and talk about the sentence that he got and what the judge said. There were some letters that were written to the judge and the Bailey family. And in my opinion, it's very obvious that Aiden's apology to the family, it was so short and so disingenuous. It's almost disrespectful in my opinion.
That I'm sorry for the Bailey family and my family.
Okay.
And then he wrote a letter. And I really do hate to say that, because you would assume, or you'd have to believe in your heart, that a teenager that did this would feel bad afterwards. I just don't think that he does. I really don't. I think that he feels bad that he is where he's at and he's not out on the streets hanging out with his friends or whatever. That's what I think. As of now, maybe it'll change one day, and I don't know. But his mother wrote a letter to the judge pleading for her son's life, and that's just crazy, especially in my opinion. I mean, what else do you expect her to do? Okay, putting myself in her shoes, she's his mother. What else do you expect her to do? That's the right thing for her to do, is say, please save my son. But as a mother, I guess she did the right thing. But she said in there that Aiden is not beyond saving. And I agree with that. He's not beyond saving as a person, but in my personal opinion, and this is something that I think a lot of people forget about, just because he's in prison for life, if he goes to prison for life, right? His life isn't over. He still does have a life in there. And if he is capable of being saved or turning around and becoming a good, decent person, well, he will be very valuable, in my opinion, within the prison system. He does not need to get out. He needs to stay in there. That's my opinion. You can do good from within the prison system. Myself, have been to prison. I've seen people in there like that. People that had 25 years and up who were in there trying to school the younger people, like, don't be like me. Don't spend your whole life in here like I'm doing, teaching classes and stuff. If he is capable of changing or saving in some way, well, great. Then he can do it from within there. That's my personal opinion. In the closing arguments, the prosecution just really drilled the point home that this was not a haste decision made in a split second from an impulsive teenager. This was planned out. He talked about this to his friends. Not necessarily that it would be Tristyn, but he talked about how he wanted to do something like this to somebody. He even named his knife Poker, like so disgusting. And then he lured Tristyn into the woods, and she was 13 and she snuck out, and it happens. A lot of us have snuck out. Lord knows I did. It's a miracle that I survived, to be honest. When I think back at the things that I did and places that I was walking in the middle of the night when I was in 6th grade, it is truly a miracle that I'm even still alive right now. But unfortunately, sometimes these things happen, which is why If you are a teenager or a child, please listen to your parents. They're not trying to ruin your life by saying, yeah, you need to be in at this time, or keep this app on your phone so I can see where you're at. Your parents are not going, how can I make my child's life miserable? How can I make sure they never have fun? No, they want to protect you. They want to help you. They want to be there to guide you and make sure that hopefully this type of thing never happens to you. Now today, this morning, you guys, the judge came out to give his statements before he handed down the verdict. And what he did first was addressed Tristyn's family, and he suggested that they heal.
Is that you fill that void with her spirit and her life that certainly lives on through each and every one of you. Allow Bailey Sunday Fun Days to return to your home. Allow laughter to return to your home, because in depriving yourselves of that, frankly, you're continuing, it would continue to victimize Tristyn, because that's not what she would want. She would want that happiness and the laughter to return, and the joking between her siblings. That's what she would truly want. You have to try to let go of some of the anger that you still feel. I think that's a big part of this process for you.
And I know that that is probably hard for them to hear. I can only imagine. But he talked about no matter what sentence he gave Aiden, it was not going to bring Tristyn back. It's not going to help the grieving process. It will not help them. He talked about a lot of the times families believe that if they can get justice, it will give them closure. And he said, I'm telling you right now, it will not come. And that was powerful. And I appreciate, although it's not for me to appreciate, but as me personally, I appreciate a raw and real response. Like, give it to me how it is so I can deal with it head on. Don't sugarcoat anything. And I feel like that's the way the judge addressed the family, but with grace. It was delicate, the way that he gave them the hard truth. Then he went to Aiden and he went down every aspect that he needed to cover in order for this sentence to basically stick. And after he did that, he gave Aiden a life sentence. And you guys, I was screaming. I was so happy. I mean, realistically, when you watched this sentencing hearing, you really can't expect anything else. Like, what else would have been appropriate than this? Now, the part about this is because he is a minor, he will be up in 25 years for review. Okay, just like we've seen that happen in other cases. However, I think that's why this is so good that the families testified, because all of this will be in transcripts in 25 years from now. So when a judge gets ready to review this case, they're going to read everything. And they're going to know that this was not a haste decision. This was planned out. This was malicious. And this was frankly just evil and scary. Scary.
This was not done out of greed. It was not done in retaliation, retribution, or revenge. It was not a crime of passion. It was not a crime that was committed because he felt rejected by her. It was not done in a fit of uncontrollable anger. There was no reason. There was no purpose. It was done for no other reason than to satisfy this defendant's internal desire to feel what it was like to kill someone.
Aiden will soon be transported to the Florida State Penitentiary, where he will get an eye-opening experience. I have told you guys this before, and I'm telling you, he is headed for a war zone. Unless you are there, and you can watch any television documentary you want to, and believe you and me, you're not seeing what really goes on in there. You're seeing what they want you to see in these documentaries. If you see a fight, if you see arguing, if you see drama, just know that that's what they're allowing to go through. What goes on in the Florida YO programs it's unreal. These kids are it's so bad. There are things that happen with broomsticks and all other kind of things. It is very bad. And if Aiden thinks he was cool trying to bully people in the county jail or getting in fights there, And this is another thing. If he's already starting off in this mental state and he gets there and he continues down that path, at 25 years from now, he's going to be so far gone, so institutionalized, spending some of the most important development years of his life fighting for his life. I would be surprised if he got out. So we will see. If I'm still here in 25 years doing this with you guys and you guys are still watching, we'll be right here to watch it as well. So what do you guys think? Did you think it was a fair sentence? I mean, it's a gut punch to think about giving a teenager a life sentence, but this is actually one that I felt like it is safer for the community. It's safer for the mental health of everybody in their community, especially the family, knowing that at least they have 25 years to even review, and hopefully he will never get out. The fact that he showed no remorse at all for what he did, even his apology was dry and seemingly coached, and very minimal compared to the impact that he had. And everything that we've seen just from him being in the jail. You guys remember that he thought he was being cute by going and having his court appearance zoomed and oh, the demons, after he literally just murdered an innocent little girl. I mean, you guys, that's scary. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Other than that, y'all have a wonderful weekend. I love you guys. I hope everybody's doing well, and I will see y'all on Monday. Love you guys. Bye.